here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us. Well, you must have had Windy Allen in mind. No one has been more dedicated to this great task than Windy. Along with the good people at the Lincoln Fellowship of Pennsylvania, the National Park Service, other groups, and Yara Villanueva and his taps for veterans buglers from across the nation. Thank you, Wendy, for spearheading the many volunteers and so nobly advancing this monumental effort, this great task before us, year after year. We gather this evening to honor our nation's veterans who have gone to their final resting place. Here, we remember in a special way those who died in 1863. But we also remember those who died in 2023, this year and the intervening years. Those who died fighting in foreign lands or in captivity. And those who survived the battles of yesterday to be finally overtaken by injury, disease, or age, but all united by the everlasting bond of service to country and service to one another. This ground on which we stand was consecrated in 1863 by the brave men who struggled here. And even after 1 + 80 years ago, it is altogether fitting and proper that we should memorialize their sacrifice. We also huddle together to memorialize all our deceased veterans. Indeed, is it not a solemn obligation of a decent and democratic people to honor those who served and fought and died to secure our liberty and the cause of peace and freedom and justice for oppressed peoples and nations? General George Patton once said, "It is foolish to mourn the men who died. Rather, we should thank God such men lived." Let us now take a moment to offer such thanks, silent gratitude for those who died to set men free, those who died to allow us to cherish life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This Memorial Day has special meaning for me because my hero, my proud World War II vet father, passed away this past September at the age of 98. And so this is my first Memorial Day without him. He served as one of the flyboys. At 19 years old, he was the lead bombardier with his unit in the mighty 8th Air Force. He started his training in 1943 and shipped out to England. He flew his required missions, then volunteered for more. 33 combat missions over Nazi-occupied Europe, earning him the Distinguished Flying Cross for heroism and bravery in battle. The new Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg television series, Masters of the Air, tells the story of a bombing squadron flying out of England in 1943 and 1944. It is well done, and I highly recommend it. I saw many of the stories that my father told me woven into the intense episodes of the series. Just 2 weeks before his passing, my father was having a conversation with the hospice chaplain, who asked him about his wartime service. He relayed a few funny stories about deployed life overseas and how they could tell how dangerous the next mission would be by the quality of the chow hall food served the day before. He then got very still. The pain and fear were still very real. As he told the chaplain that he still remembers the planes dropping from the sky around him in their formation, victims of enemy fighters and flak, and the empty chairs back in the dining hall, and the empty bunks back in the barracks. And yet, when the orders for the next mission came, my father and the remaining air crew, members of the greatest generation, climbed into their B-24 airplanes and off they flew into the wild blue yonder. And now my dad rests in the arms of our Lord with his cherished wife and family and his beloved fellow crew members, the flyboys of the 44th Bomb Group. I will close this evening with the words of another general, a heroic Union soldier who was also master of the written word. Of course, I'm talking about General Joshua Chamberlain, who rallied his men in July 1863 with the now famous battle cry of "Fix bayonets," but then returned to this ground in 1889 to deliver this longer, more poignant address. In great deeds, something abides. On great fields, something stays. Forms change and pass, bodies disappear, but spirits linger to consecrate ground for the vision place of souls. And reverent men and women from afar, and generations that know us not, and that we know not of, heart-drawn to see where and by whom great things were suffered and done for them, shall come to this field to ponder and dream. And lo, the shadow of a mighty presence shall wrap them in its bosom, and the power of the vision pass into their souls. Author Rochelle Goodrich once wrote, "On this day, take time to remember those who have fallen. But on every day after, do more. Put the freedoms they died for to greater and nobler uses. And so let all of us gathered here this evening take those words and Mr. Lincoln's words to heart, to advance the cause of freedom, to take on the great task remaining before us, to stand together, bound by a belief that these stars and stripes are worth defending, and join together in gratitude for those who died doing just that. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." I believe a benevolent God will say to them, "Well done, good and faithful servants. Come share your master's joy." And so, rest in peace, brave veterans. And on this Memorial Day, God bless the souls of our departed veterans, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, General, for those moving and inspiring remarks this evening. Now, please join me in welcoming the Superintendent at Gettysburg National Military Park and the Eisenhower National Historic Site, Superintendent Christina Heister.
Hi, everybody. My goal now, in honor of Lincoln, is to have no speeches longer than 252 words. Maybe 2 minutes. So I would like to start by welcoming you all to the opening night of 100 Nights of Taps and thanking again our wonderful partners in this inspiring and educational program, the Lincoln Fellowship, Taps for Veterans, and of course our wonderful licensed battlefield guides. I'd also like to know how many folks in our audience are veterans, active service members, Gold Star families, families of any of the above. Raise your hands. Thank you for your service. But as we heard earlier today, this is not your day. We stand here today on Memorial Day in the Gettysburg National Cemetery to honor, in the words of Lincoln, those who gave the last full measure of devotion in service to their country. As we look around at the headstones surrounding us, we remember on this day the sacrifices made by so many so that we may enjoy the freedoms that make this nation great. Part of being a great nation is never forgetting what they did to ensure that freedom, and as we have heard, continuing to dedicate ourselves to the great task before us. It is only fitting that at the end of each night this summer, the melodious bugle call that is taps will signal lights out or extinguish lights. The playing of taps honors not only those who sacrificed their life to serve our country, but also those who are still in service, who hear it as the last call of the day on military bases worldwide. It's both a sign of respect and a tribute to our military men and women, known and unknown, alive and dead. It touches us all. In addition to touching our hearts, 100 Nights of Taps also teaches those who come here the significance of this special place to the American public. A place dedicated by Abraham Lincoln with the immortal words of the Gettysburg Address. I hope over the course of this summer that you will take advantage of the incredible expertise of our licensed battlefield guides on a cemetery tour. Get to know, as human beings, the heroes that are buried here. Say their name. Get to know something about their lives, their families, their stories. Understand that the Soldiers' National Monument is about sorrow, but also about the continuing struggle for freedom, and the many other topics that you're going to learn about that represent why this cemetery, among all the cemeteries managed by the National Park Service, is the most visited, the most celebrated, the best maintained, and how lucky we are to have the honor and the privilege of managing it for the inspiration of the American public. Enjoy your summer.
Thank you, Superintendent Heister. Now, please welcome our friend, Lincoln Fellowship Pennsylvania Board Member, Wayne Heel, who will perform American Anthem.
All we've been given by those who came before, the dreams of a nation where freedom would endure. The work and prayers of centuries have brought us to this day. What shall be our legacy? What will our children say? Let them say of me, I was one who believed in tearing the blessings I received. Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you. Each generation, from the plains to distant shores, with the gifts that they were given, were determined to lead more. Valiant battles fought together, acts of conscience fought alone. These are the seeds from which America has grown. Let them say of me, I was one who believed in sharing a blessing I received. Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best for you. For those who think they have nothing to share, who fear in their hearts there is no hero there, know that quiet acts of dignity are that which fortifies the soul of a nation that never dies. Let them say of me, I was one who believed in sharing blessings I received. Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, 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 America. I gave my best to you.
Wasn't that wonderful? Let's give Wayne another round of applause. I'd now like to introduce Ranger Christopher Gwynn, Chief of Interpretation and Education, Gettysburg National Military Park.
Good evening, everyone. Every year, the Lincoln Fellowship of Pennsylvania with the National Park Service create a commemorative coin. This coin is then presented to those who make 100 nights of taps possible. This includes the buglers who perform every night, the invited guests who offer remarks, and the many licensed battlefield guides and rangers who work alongside the fellowship. And each year, a different soldier is included on that coin. This individual, a soldier buried in this national cemetery, becomes a symbolic focal point of the program. It's a way, a small way, to humanize the enormous cost of the Battle of Gettysburg and to give face to the otherwise faceless stones in the National Cemetery. This year, that individual is Edmund Dascom of Hillsborough, New Hampshire. Dascom, only 25 years old at the time of the Battle of Gettysburg, was a teacher before the war. He was a diminutive man with gentle features. He loved poetry. He loved learning. He was also a patriot, joining the ranks of the 2nd New Hampshire Volunteer Infantry despite his often frail health. Edmund Dascom would rise through the ranks of his regiment to reach the rank of lieutenant during the war. Wounded at the Battle of Williamsburg in 1862, he would recover and face the enemy again at places like Manassas, Fredericksburg, Chancellorsville, and here at Gettysburg. On July 2nd, 1863, while fighting near the Peach Orchard, he was mortally wounded. He is today buried in the New Hampshire plot of this cemetery, Row A, Grave 11, one of over 3,512 U.S. soldiers who were killed in the Battle of Gettysburg and buried here. We hope you take the time this evening to visit the grave of Edmund Dascom, buried again in the New Hampshire plot off to my right front. His grave is marked with a special flag this evening. And I hope you can join us in keeping his memory alive throughout this 100 Nights of Taps. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Now please welcome the Vice President of the Lincoln Fellowship of Pennsylvania, Ken Kine.
And now we invite all active duty military personnel and veterans of our armed forces to please come forward and stand with our bugler that we may thank you. Come on up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your service to our country.
It's now my honor to introduce Yori Villanueva to make a few remarks. Yori is retired from the United States Air Force, where he served for 23 years as a trumpeter, drum major, and staff arranger with the United States Air Force Band in Washington, D.C. He is an accomplished music arranger. Most notably, his arrangement of Gone Home was featured in the Tom Clancy film Clear and Present Danger, and was performed by the U.S. Air Force Band during the state funerals of Presidents Reagan, Ford, and Bush. Nationally and internationally recognized as a leading expert on military bugling and bugle calls, Villanueva was the founder of TAPS 150, an organization formed to commemorate the 150th anniversary of the bugle call TAPS in 2012. He not only serves as the musical director and coordinator of 100 Nights of Taps Gettysburg, he serves as an advisor to Taps for Veterans, our partner organization that helps provide buglers for military funerals. On August 1st, 2023, Villanueva was appointed Executive Director of the Doughboy Foundation, which supports programs, projects, and activities that educate the public about America's participation in World War I. York?
Well, good evening, everyone, and Superintendent, General, members of the Lincoln Fellowship, our beloved licensed battlefield guides, this wonderful choir who I had an opportunity to perform with this weekend, and family and friends, welcome to this most sacred spot. You're going to hear taps in just a bit, you know, and of all the bugle calls that are in existence, none is more easily recognized or more apt to evoke emotion than the 24 notes that comprise this bugle call. And General, thank you so much for your eloquent words about that call, the call that we hear every single night. Every military person hears it from their first night of basic training to their very last night of service. You know, the history of the melody, of course, is eloquent. The history of it is somewhat clouded in controversy and myth, but the use of taps is unique to the United States military, as the call is sounded at military funerals, wreath-laying ceremonies, and also as that final call in the evening. And of course, it's recognized anywhere in the world. This call was first sounded during the American Civil War, when Union General Daniel Butterfield was not pleased for that call of lights out, feeling that it was too formal to signal that lights out. So with the help of his brigade bugler, a 23-year-old named Oliver Wilcox Norton, together they created the new call that was first heard in July of 1862. And I will say that both General Daniel Butterfield and that bugler, Oliver Wilcox Norton, were here at Gettysburg in July of 1863. Butterfield, of course, as the Chief of Staff to the Commanding General, and Oliver Wilcox Norton as the Brigade Bugler on Little Round Top on that second day. Well, what exactly is taps? Well, taps, it consists of 24 notes. It's played on an instrument that can only play 5 pitches of the overtone series. It's a call that's easily recognized within the first 3 notes, usually played on a bugle or a trumpet or a cornet. It's the only call in the military that's played slowly throughout. Its simplistic melody has evoked emotions from the most hardened combat veteran. Its origin has been clouded in mythology. It's a call that has a dual purpose. One to signal lights out at the end of the day, and then the other one as a formal military honor to those who have served in uniform to our country. It's a call that has been open to interpretation and arrangement, from a solo rendition on a bugle to an echoed version to accompanied arrangements, and also as a musical setting. And as I understand, at the end of the program, you'll hear a choral setting of taps. It's also a melody that has had many lyrics set to it. In my research, I've found dozens and dozens of verses, and in just a bit you will hear 3 of the most famous verses, lyrics set to the music. It is a piece of music that's performed by polished military professionals, amateurs, school bandsmen, and also volunteers like in Taps for Veterans, those who are interested in providing a much needed service at veterans' funerals. By an act of Congress, it is recognized as America's national song of remembrance. 100 Nights of Taps has been an inspiration to buglers throughout this country. Many travel here from all points of our nation to participate in their one performance. And they do it on their own nickel. They come here because they know what an honor it is to pay tribute to the men and women who've gone It is also, the 100 Nights of Taps has also inspired several programs. Wendy, of course, received her inspiration from the buglers at the Menin Gate in Ypres, Belgium, where they have a memorial to the Commonwealth soldiers who defended that town in World War I. If you go to that beautiful gate, you'll see the names of over 50,000 soldiers who are, they could not find their remains, but they are memorialized on this wall. That gate opened in 1927. In 1928, buglers from the local fire brigade decided to pay tribute by sounding the British call last post. Since 1928, 33,000 consecutive nights have passed. They have never missed a single night. So Wendy, when she heard that, she said, we've got to do something like this here in Gettysburg. Her determination to have something like this here brought about 100 Nights of Taps, which now enters its 8th year. But like I said, it's also inspired other programs. It's inspired Taps Across the Water, Taps Across Bethlehem, and it has also inspired the program down at the National World War I Memorial in Washington, D.C., which I am proud to say I'm the executive director of. We decided we have to do the same thing. Wendy inspired me to say, why can't we do the same thing here? And my boss agreed with me and says, oh, why can't we? It's easy to do. So on May 21st, 2021, we had a bugler sound taps at 5 p.m. at the memorial, and we've had it continuous ever since, well over 1,200 continuous nights, and we plan to keep doing it. As I told my friends in Ypres, we're going to catch up to them yet. So it's an honor to be here and being part of this program. So Wendy, thank you so much for making that phone call 8 years ago and saying, hey, come up for lunch. I want to talk to you about something. She has a way of just, making you do something. And I'm so honored, as all the buglers who do this wonderful service. So in just a bit, you'll hear those 24 notes that are meant to honor, to pay tribute, not only to the fallen, as we should do on this particular day, but also, as the superintendent said, to every man and woman who has donned the uniform of our country. Thank you.
At this time, I would like to welcome the Mayor of Gettysburg. Please welcome the Honorable Mayor, Rita C. Freeling.
"Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.